So, The Wheel of Time Season 3 is gonna be the last for this TV show, and I just wanna quote somebody that I really like. His name is Narc. If you read the Wheel of Time books, you know exactly who that is, and this is actually some guy that is posting some Wheel of Time content on Instagram, and I wanted to make this video to tell what I feel about this cancellation, and then I saw his post, I read it, and I understood that I cannot do better than that. He put it 100% perfectly, exactly my thoughts of this news. So, can Narc safely watch season 3 now, or should he wait a little bit longer just to be sure? On a more serious note, Narc feels bad for the people who actually liked the show and enjoyed it, but Narc is personally glad it's done. It was a bad adaptation and also a poorly written show for the most part. Narc, however, does not feel bad for any of the show fans that tried to indeed silence anyone who dared to criticize the show for being a poor representation of the books by labeling them racist, bigot, sexist, and whatever else their demented minds could come up with. Anyways, at the end of the day, the season 1 premiere numbers showed that there was a big enough audience to support this show. The drop off from there is all down to the writers and the choices they made in how to adapt the books. The buck stops with them. No one else is to blame. And I agree 100, even 1,000,000% with everything he said. I do feel bad for everybody who enjoyed the show. I know what it feels like when you enjoy a show, when you like something and suddenly it's cancelled. It can be devastating. It's, like you have this idea, you want to know how it ends. And unfortunately, even the fact that there are books called Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, if you really like the show, those books are not gonna be really satisfactory to you because the coincidence between the books and, the TV show, they're very coincidental. Sorry for the pun, because for the most part, they're pretty separate. Some of the events are kind of similar, some of the names for the characters are basically the same and they have the same name, the Wheel of Time. But if you start to deep dive into those characters and into those events, you kind of realize how very different they are. And it's not just about being 100% like the book. Nothing works like that. If you adapt the book into television or a movie, you will make some changes, you will adapt some things. But if you make decisions where someone like Matt, who will never abandon his friends, never in 100 million years, no matter what's gonna happen, and you make him abandon his friends. When you need someone like Brandon Sanderson to tell you that if there is a danger in, I think, episode 1, when Lon is running to save Moraine with his own body, if you need Brandon Sanderson to tell you that in this situation, Lon will run towards Moraine and try to save her with his own body, then you're in a big trouble. If you, for some reason, show us a situation where Egwene and Nynaeve and another couple of some channelers can basically do what the Dragon Reborn barely did in the end of book 1 and then just die and revive themselves, there is something really wrong with you understanding the book, and I don't know how it happens. When more than 20 years ago Peter Jackson left us a blueprint how to make a great fantasy adaptation, you hire actors that are chameleons, you don't hire big names, okay? You don't need to have a Rosamund Pike show with everybody else. And it's not like Rosamund Pike is bad, but it's not Moraine's show. It's Rand al'Thor, Matrin Cotton, Egwene, Perrin. They are the main characters, Nynaeve. I'm even not gonna start listing everything that I think is wrong with this TV show. I know why we need stepping. Why Perrin had a wife that he killed in episode 1 or 2 or something like this, and that's it. And you don't have any more wife. What was the reason for all those stupid changes? Now, I can understand that if you are taking a huge book like The Wheel of Time, which is like 13 books, and each book is freaking huge, it's a freaking brick, you will have to delete something, you will have to remove something, you will have to adapt something. It's understandable. But the changes in adding more characters to 2,000 characters that you already have in the book, The changes when you make everybody who, the heroes, they are young and they are living into this big world and you are experiencing through their eyes. The decision to make them way older and remove this magic of a teenager that sees, the huge world. What even was the point of everything? But it's just one thing that brought to its downfall, I think. The second part is just as Narc said, if you dare to criticize the show, if you dare to say something like, Emmonsfield, with its population of like 2.5 people and maybe a dog, and it's been enclosed to any stranger for the past like 1,000 years, I don't know, does it make me the IST word if I notice that for some reason it looks like some city in California? And diversity is important, and female characters and their agency is important. But you know what? When you adapt a book like The Wheel of Time, it's already freaking there. You don't need to search something, you don't need to invent Steppins and Perrin's wives, you don't need to give Egwene and Nynaeve a powerful moment in the end of season 1, because guess what? They're gonna have a freaking dozens of those powerful moments. Because Robert Jordan wrote an amazing book that people like, and if you adapt something, how is it so hard to understand that the first people that gonna tune in into your adaptations are the biggest fans of the original source? Whether you adapt in The Witcher, whether you adapt in Lord of the Rings, or Wheel of Time, or anything else, the first people that's gonna jump in the very first second when this movie or TV shows are gonna hit the screens are gonna be the hardcore fans. And if you're gonna give them what they want, and all they want is just a faithful, respectful adaptation to something that they love with all their heart, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna tell everybody. Right now, after Andor, I'm telling everybody you should go and watch this freaking TV show. Like, I don't know how many eyes I actually brought there, but probably some. Now, Wheel of Time, if it was successful, you bet your ass I would go on the streets and grab people and like, you should go and watch the Wheel of Time. Because if you're not, there's a small chance it's gonna be cancelled. I would make it my life's mission to work for this TV show's success. But your decision, the creators of this TV show, was firstly to alienate as many book fans as possible by making the decision not going in Peter Jackson's direction when he said like, we didn't want to put our ideas and our baggage. We wanted to put Tolkien's ideas and Tolkien's baggage in the front of this movie. And if you remember, one of the interviews just before season 1, I think what's exciting about the Wheel of Time TV series and what was exciting about the books in the 90s is that they opened up a conversation about gender and how gender is represented in all of those different cultures within the world of the Wheel of Time. I would actually argue, and this is only my opinion, but the main idea considering gender in the Wheel of Time is the balance. Women are women, men are men. Together, when we work together, we create amazing symbol of the Aes Sedai with the two drops that are completing each other and making a perfect circle. But when we live in a world when there is a strong patriarchy or strong matriarchy, like in the Wheel of Time in the beginning, when all the men are basically looked down to, especially men who can channel, and then Randall Thor kind of restores this balance and we get a way better world, but this is once again just my opinion. Let me keep reading the quote. Because it's not just one way you see a lot of different representations of gender, you see things that are more binary and less binary. I think that we have to lean into that in this show and continue to explore what gender means for these characters in as fresh of a context today as Robert Jordan was working in the 90s. He was pushing the envelope a lot for the genre at the time, and I think we need to do the same today. This is my problem. Not the idea of gender, binary, non-binary, whatever it is, whatever your idea is, it's valid, and if you're making a great movie or TV show or book about it, if it's interesting, people will consume this information. It's not the issue here. The issue here is that once again, a creator's taken something that is very beloved as it is and decides that for some reason he needs to adopt it for this, mystical modern audiences. For those people that don't give a shit about the Wheel of Time because it's not modern enough for them, but for some reason we are actually taking this classic book and we are trying to adapt it to them instead of adapting it to, first of all, almost the same story, but just, visually more interesting than the book. I don't understand this approach. And I'm glad, just like Narc wrote, I am glad that it failed because I don't want to see this approach happening to more with the books that I also enjoy. As you can see behind me, there are many more of them. Hopefully one day we're gonna see an adaptation of Brandon Sanderson's, Mistborn, Love Mistborn, or, Stormlight Archive, or many more other books that I wish would be adapted. But when they will be adapted, I hope they will use Peter Jackson's blueprint instead of the Witcher blueprint and the Wheel of Time. And what else do we have? The Rings of Power is not going to be ever cancelled because they're obligated to make at least 5 seasons. But I'm not really sure that the numbers there are also working, but it doesn't really matter. I hope it's gonna stop with the ego of the creators and get back to understanding the core ideas and why people actually love the books or whatever the source material you are adopting. And this is what I wanted to say about this. And usually I don't talk about the Wheel of Time. I have a couple of videos. It got a little bit less than 1,000 views. I assume this video is also gonna get 100 views because people want me to make From videos, even if I don't have anything to say about From. But it's okay, people are not obligated to watch my videos if they are not interested. But I just really wanted to, lose some steam and blow some steam because this topic is important to me. The Wheel of Time is one of my favorite, if not the favorite fantasy series. It made me feel so many emotions. I absolutely love it. I was filled with hope when I started to watch this TV show. I was expecting to be way bigger than the Game of Thrones because it has a potential to be bigger than a Game of Thrones. And to see it flop so hard and understanding why it's flopping so hard, because once again, everybody who dared to criticize this show was demonized as subhuman people. This created a situation when people were not just ignoring the show, they were fighting against it. And I'm not sure I can blame them for that, because if you're saying that, it doesn't sound logical to me that, putting Step in there like one of the main characters in season 1, or doesn't sound logical to me that for some reason the moment that Rand basically saved everybody in the end of book 1, this moment was given to Egwene and Nynaeve, and then you will be labeled that you hate women for some reason. I don't understand this, but this creates a counter reaction. If you're blamed for this shit, you will feel like, okay, this is what you want me to be? You want me to be your villain? I guess I'm gonna be your villain. Maybe I'm just gonna start watching the TV show for 10 minutes. Maybe I'm gonna cancel my Prime subscription and write to them this is because of the Wheel of Time show. Because you wanted to demonize me for having an opinion, for not liking a TV show? This is stupid, and now you reap what you sow. And honestly, I really hope that most of the people who were just tuning into this show and they enjoyed the show, hopefully, 100% not lying even a little bit, maybe somebody else is gonna pick up this show. Not Amazon, maybe Netflix, maybe whatever. Somebody else is gonna pick it up, and maybe you're gonna see a couple of more seasons, maybe with less budget, whatever it is, but you will get to see your story end. Still, I am glad that whatever is happening right now with Wheel of Time, hopefully it will serve as a lesson for future producers and investors not to invest in creators like Rafe Judkins and his core team. Not the everybody, obviously, who was working on the TV show. His core team who pushed those ideas, their ideas, into a space that was not welcoming their ideas at all. As I said, for those 100 who watched until this moment, or even less, maybe even 5 people, I don't really care. Thank you for watching until this moment. Thank you for not making me a crazy person who talks to himself. If you are there, you can hit like, subscribe, write a comment. I would love to hear what you think about this. Are you happy the TV show got cancelled? Are you sad? Do you agree with what I said? Do you want to label me with something like you're angry right now at me and you want to call me some names? Whatever it is, write me a comment. And thank you so much as usual to everybody who supports me on Patreon and on YouTube. Your financial support and your donations, this is what makes this channel possible. You create a motivation for me and a sense of responsibility. I never want to disappoint you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Meanwhile, bye!